Hello and good evening and good morning here. Um, Today was a pretty crappy day of rain and puppy mud, and just I slept most of the day because I wasn't feeling well. So I'm here, I think it's around 2 o'clock in the morning. Um, I've been doing a lot of thinking, which I'm an overthinker, so that's the way it goes. Um, I've been thinking about ways to be constructive instead of destructive. Um, like I mentioned in my last video, I wasn't taking my meds right. I was taking the wrong strength. I was taking less than what I was supposed to be taking. And that kind of screwed me up this morning because I ended up taking the correct amount, and it was as if I started taking it from the get-go. And I was dizzy and not feeling well. I decided to cut up a butternut squash, which, if anybody's ever done that, the skin is really hard, and you really shouldn't be doing that when you're not feeling well and kind of off. But I managed to do it, and it turned out good. I got a couple bites in, and then I didn't feel good, so I had to stop. I stayed up for a little while because I didn't sleep last night, and I probably didn't sleep the night before either, because I've been reading that book about the adult estranged children, and that's been on my mind, of course, since I've listened to it. It's on Audible, so I just listened to it, and it was like 12 hours long, and I'd fall asleep during parts of it because it just was kind of boring. And it's not, I shouldn't say it was boring, it just didn't apply. So there's a second book, and I'm debating on reading it or listening to it because it really doesn't apply. And I can't say it doesn't apply, it's just repetitive. They just go over different scenarios, and it's just kind of the same thing. As well as I've tried the things that they're suggesting in these books, and it hasn't worked, needless to say. So I have just been kind of putting it on hold, debating whether or not I want to listen to it. Because like I said, I found the second book very similar to the first book, and it can be helpful, but right now I'm just trying to take it day by day. Autumn is here, they claim, even though it's been like 90 degrees. Today it wasn't, it was rainy, and the dogs were extremely muddy. So we didn't want to leave them come in the house. I should say let them come in the house because they're just muddy. But that reminds me I should go down and mop the floor because it is just mud. And now that I think about it, it's driving me crazy. Even though it's still muddy and still wet out, they'll just bring more mud in the house in the morning. It still bugs me. As for the topic of adult estranged children, I'm going to take her advice and just let things be for, she said, 6 to 12 months. And it's been 8 years, but not 8 years since I've left them alone. And that sounds bad. That just means I've been reaching out to them. I've been trying to talk to them on Facebook. I've been writing them letters. I sent them that SD card. Nothing's worked. they've called me all of a sudden out of the blue. I get my son's number on my phone, and yeah, I got excited. I'm like, they changed their mind. They want to talk to me. They want to have something to do with me. Needless to say, he just screamed and screamed and screamed the entire phone call. I couldn't get a word in edgewise. I tried to explain to him things that they were, and all he did was scream. He wished me dead. He wished I, wouldn't talk to him anymore. Then a few hours went by, and my daughter, oldest daughter, she's 22 now, her number came up, and I thought, well, maybe she has a different opinion after finding out what he did. So I answered the phone, and I always answer the phone when they call because I'm stupid. No, because I thought maybe she had something positive to say, and it was the same thing. Screaming and screaming and swearing. Did I mention that my son was just swearing? I mean, bad. And I was speechless, and I tried to speak, but needless to say, his screaming didn't allow me a word in. So I'm like, okay. So then a few hours, like I said, a few hours later, my daughter calls, and I answer the phone, and it's the same thing of screaming and yelling and swearing and bitching. And I'd like to know who raised these children, because I did not raise these children to act that way, especially to their elders. And I just called myself old, but you know what I mean, to their people who are older than them. There's no respect there, and regardless, there should have been. So she did her screaming and kicking and bitching, and again, I didn't get a word in edgewise. So okay, fine. A couple hours later, probably only 2 hours, it was a lot shorter, her phone number comes up again, and I'm like, I answered the phone, and I'm like, what do you want? What do you want? You already called, you already said what you had to say, what do you want now? It was my youngest. She had a lot to say, but you could tell she was coached and being coached. And her major mistake, if you want to call it that, is she called me mom. Usually they call me by my name, which is really disrespectful, but she slipped, if you want to call it that, and called me mom, which I knew she didn't mean what she was saying, because of that. So it was funny, because she was like 16, 15, 16, not quite sure, and she goes, I know I'm not supposed to swear, and then she swore, and you could tell she felt bad about swearing at me. In other words, she did have some respect. Like I said, she did call me mom, so I know that she feels differently than the other two. And it was really hard to listen to them be so disrespectful. And when I would try with her, when I would try to talk and get my words in, it was blah blah blah, and she didn't know what to say anymore, because she was being coached, and she ran out of words, she ran out of things to say. So she would just go blah, 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 blah. And they wished me dead. And that wasn't the first time. In email, I think it was, they said, why don't you just die already? And being bipolar and things like that, it just made me feel like, well, maybe I should. Maybe I'd be better off. Maybe that would make them happy. But that's not right. By reading, just take it that when I say reading, that I listen to this book. That I need to move on with my life. I need to be happy with myself and my life. That's really hard to do when you have 3 beings out there that you gave birth to and changed diapers and fed and, for how many years, clothed them, got ready, for school, held them when they were sick, cooked for them when they were sick, picked them up from school every day, took them and picked them up, took them to Taekwondo. I mean, I took care of them nonstop. Their father, if you want to call him that, I'd call him a sperm donor, but he ain't even worth that. I won't even say his name because I have absolutely no respect for him. I won't say my children's names because it's almost like irrelevant. I'll say the 18-year-old, the 22-year-old, so on and so forth. But it doesn't pay to say their names. The unfortunate thing, I guess, is that funny incidents come up and I talk about it, and it's bittersweet. You hear over and over, oh, they'll come around, they'll come around. My mom and I didn't have a relationship growing up, and I never came around. I would send her hate mail. That was before internet. But I have tried to reach out to her. I have emailed her. My sister, she lives in Canada now after she did her things, which I don't know how she can judge me because she isn't any better. She ended up living in Canada, and when my dad was dying, she couldn't come here to the States because you have to live in Canada for 3 years to get citizenship. So she was in Canada, thank God, because she's a bitch from hell. She hated me from the day I came home from the hospital, and we are 2.5 years apart. She's older, and she's vicious. In an email after our father passed away, she said it should have been me, not him. So it's like you wonder why I am the way I am, why I feel the way I do. Unfortunately, I feel, there's ask, are you suicidal? Do you feel suicidal? I joke that I feel homicidal, but it's not that I'm suicidal, it's that I don't wish to exist. I don't feel like I have purpose. Yeah, I see a therapist. Yeah, I see a doctor. I see lots of doctors. It's fucking worthless. But I see them because I have to. I'm making these videos in hopes that I can help somebody else out, somebody who is going through the same thing. Unfortunately, there are people who are going through a lot worse. I hear the sad part about they'll come around is, so if they come around, is it going to be to bitch some more? Is it gonna be welcoming? What are they gonna say? What are they, all my letters that I've written is, I'm sorry, I've made mistakes, I paid my dues. They've all been like that, admitting my failures to them. But I talked to David about it, and it's like, well, what if they, well, now it's hard to, because we moved like 5.5 hours away. Now it would be difficult for them to just show up. When we lived in town, it would be easy for them. So in a way, I'm relieved that I can walk outside the house and not worry about them showing up. But if they have something to say and find out where I live, and they show up, I don't know how I'll feel. I don't know, for one, I don't know what they'll say. I don't know. I don't think they come down here to be assholes, but you don't know my children. And it's not my girls that's the problem, it's my son. He was really rebellious, and he felt like the girls got special treatment because their real dad was my husband and lived in the house, and his dad lived separate because we were divorced, and he resented the fact that the girls got things like clothes. And because well, I don't blame him, his dad went to St. Vincent de Paul to get him clothes, school clothes. He's supposed to be looking nice, and he looks like a scrub. But that's, his dad paid minimal child support, instead of the 17%, I think it is. I allowed him to pay 10. Then he had to pay for school pictures, clothes, school lunch, school supplies, things like that. It's like, okay, I'll give you a break here, but you're gonna have to pay here. So my son was jealous of the girls because he would go by his dad for the weekends, and the girls and I and my ex would go to the zoo or to wherever. We'd go do fun things. We'd go shooting. We would do things that my son would like to do. Well, you're by your dad. It's not our fault. That's the way it is. So it's like, yeah, there's a lot of resentment. The funny thing, if you want to call it that, was the day we kicked my son. I call him my son because he's not my ex-husband's real son. I was at Taekwondo with the girls, and my ex was at home with my son, and we were kicking him out at the same time. I was doing it via text, and I don't know if he was doing it in person, but we were kicking him out at the same time and didn't know it. So my son was pretty upset. Can't say I blame him, but he was 18. He refused to follow the rules. It just was getting bad. And he could go stay by his dad, and that's what he did. So, yeah, living with children who are estranged, the scary part about that is, well, like I said, I changed my phone number, and I don't know if anybody has it. I don't think so, but I'm not sure. But they can reach me on Messenger. And the scary part is the unknown. Are you going to see them again someday? Are they going to show up at your house? if they're hell-bent, yeah, they would show up. Um, are they gonna... It's the unknown. That's the scary part of it, is the unknown. God, I'm tired. I just woke up a couple hours ago. But, yeah, it's the unknown of what the future holds. The other part of it is, and this was from when the separation began, was missing the proms, missing the dates, missing, you know, the dating. So I was always part of that. Not like I'd go on a date with them, but, you know, with my son, I'd meet his girlfriends. They always liked me. I always liked them. But meeting the boyfriends, getting them ready for prom, getting them ready for homecoming, getting them ready for their weddings, if they have children, you know, my grandchildren. I already have 3 grandchildren, but they are also estranged because I have a son who is 32, I believe, but I gave him up for adoption when I was 15. So I'm trying not to keep this long, but I'm trying to explain things so anybody out there can say, or I would hate to say it, but oh yeah, you know, I went through that, I'm going through that, I can relate to that. That's my idea, is to make anybody out there feel like they are not alone, and maybe reach out and say, hey, you know, this is what happened to me. Shit, I don't know, but you know, so I can start this channel and have people be uncensored. You know, be yourself. Tell your story. I hate to call it a story because stories to me are made up. But, you know, tell me what you're going through. Tell me what you've gone through. Tell me how you've handled it. Tell me how it made you feel. You know, like I said, my mom and I, we were on and off. As a child, we were totally off. But as adults, we were on and off. And now I don't talk to any of my family. I don't talk to any of my friends. I have one friend, and I don't even really talk to her. I talk to my therapist. I talk to David, my fiance. I talk to my animals. They love talking to me. Oh, they love listening, I think. Yeah, I just wanted to do a video tonight. I'm trying to do a video every night. So I know I can't even keep my eyes open. Or it looks like I'm high. I could be, because it's legal here. So, I wonder if I hit this button, what it does. Well, maybe I can't do it while I'm videotaping. But I want to. I'm very techie oriented. I like to play with my phone, and okay, well, this is like 24 minutes long, so I think that's long enough. I would like to hear from you. Pretty much no holds barred. I don't give a shit how you express yourself. I mean, I give a shit how you express yourself. I'm just saying your language. It doesn't bother me. I'm human. You're a zombie? No, I'm a zombie. I use humor to try to cover up pain. I have medication that's supposed to cover up pain. It doesn't. So I hope to hear from you, and until then, you take care. If you need to reach out, if you are sad, if you're happy, if you just need to talk to somebody, my email address is there. If for some reason you can't use my email address, drop a comment and like, subscribe. I hate saying that shit because everybody says it, but everybody knows the drill. So, okay, have a good evening. Thanks for being here. Goodbye.